I'm Julio. For those who don't know me, I've been in the agency for some time. I'm new doing the stormwater pollution prevention plan. I'm assisting Bonita with this part. As you've seen on Bonita's presentation, that NPDES permit presentation now incorporates the stormwater pollution prevention plan. Before, except for RP1, it used to be under a separate industrial general permit, but now that has been incorporated, if I remember correctly, as of November 19, last year, October, right? So the NPDES permit has two attachments related to the stormwater pollution prevention plan, attachment J and K, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. As Bonita mentioned before in the permit, there are three discharge points identified by the State Resource Control Board. For RP1 and TP1, there's a stormwater storm 001 and 002. And for RP2, the discharge to Chino Creek is labeled as a 003. Okay. Basically, the stormwater permit requires us to do some best management practices. The intent is, the premise is that it's better to prevent pollution before it happens, so we need to try to do that. It is basically targeting operations where there's a potential of some debris or fuels or things like that that may enter the stormwater and eventually pollute the rivers or the streams where it's receiving. As you can see in my annual walkthrough to RP1, RP2, and TP1, I found some sites that may have a potential debris that maybe a best management practice could make it a little better, more tidy in order to avoid some of those runoffs if there's potential of rain or rainwater that may fall. Attachment K basically talks about the monitoring sampling. It's not as sophisticated as the NPDES requirements, but the new monitoring and sampling requirement has been updated as of July 1, 2015, and not sure yet how this is going to impact our overall operations, because the monitoring plan requires us to collect 4 samples, qualifying samples, per year, 2 per each semester, which was not there before. So if there's no rain, obviously there's going to be no qualifying samples to collect. And the requirement for the qualifying sample has to be preceded by 48 hours before any rain event happened, which was not there before. So now we're going to be, we have to comply with this requirement. And we didn't have any storm event until May of this year. And I'll show you a little later a clip on that one. But bottom line, you don't have to collect, even though they're required to collect stormwater samples, you don't have to do if the weather is dangerous or is outside of your normal operating hours. So let's say over the weekend, if nobody's on the plant and there's a rain event, obviously you're not going to be going extra in order to collect samples for that particular event. Also, the new stormwater permit has now numerical action levels. So if the samples exceed those numerical action levels, then we'll be classified under different categories. And based on that one, we have to do some additional work. The current numeric action levels are on the exhibit attachment K, and if you want copies of the attachment, by the way, there's only 4 printouts that has the attachment K and J and K. I didn't print all of them because it's a lot of pages, so if you want the electronic version, please let me know and I can email it to you. But basically this is the limits that we have to meet, so we are on the base, what the state calls the base level. pH, total suspended solids, oil and grease were pretty standard. They've been asking for that before. The remainder of these 4 parameters depends on the type of industry, but for IEUA, these are the limits imposed to us. Just wanted to refer briefly to the stormwater event that we had on May 6th. If you go to NOAA's website, it has automated reporting for the total rain that happened during that particular day. As you can see in Ontario on 5/6, that's the 5/6 and 5/7, we had almost 1 inch. Unfortunately, NOAA does not tell us the precipitation per hour, but total precipitation. And we had violation, I wouldn't call it violation, but we exceeded the numerical action level limits of the previous page. So,
which of the constituents do we have a problem with?
All the metals.
The metals?
Yeah. The suspended and the zinc and, was it copper, right?
Copper and zinc.
Yeah, the 3, we exceeded that one, right? So now, because...
It didn't exceed the instantaneous, it only exceeded the annual.
Right, but the problem is we only have 1 sample, so that applies both for instantaneous and also for the annual numerical action level. So because of those exceedances, now we have to prepare a whole new, not new, but numerical action level, some technical lingo that I don't remember at this moment, but we have to prepare action plan or new BMPs in order to get off from the level 1, as they call. If you exceed again the same limits within the next year, will become elevated to level 2, then we need to do a technical report on how we're going to be preventing those pollution.
For the total suspended solids, that is something that I think, operations and maintenance, that's something I think we can do something about, because it's, possibly street sweeping, gutter sweeping. I imagine that some of that's got to be why, perhaps why with the metals, I don't know that, what can we do about that? Is that likely from...
Should flush the catch basin before we expect, because where it was overflowing into Cucamonga Creek was from the what is it side? The liquids, what do they call it on the, not the tertiary side, the flow side, yeah. The flow side.
But are we thinking that that's coming from because of the metal pipes that we use for conveyance of stormwater?
I think it was just because it's been sitting in there and finally it's been overwhelmed and it's coming out of that catch basin.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
They haven't had a storm discharge for a couple of years, so.
Yeah, so maybe there's some way to clean out that thing, because what they're capturing essentially is what's flowing out of that catch basin, and because the plant can't keep up with it.
Okay.
So maybe that's something that they need to do.
That's something we'll have to keep an eye on, and maybe we can do some testing or something, because if we find that it is from the catch basins and the piping and things like that, we may have to talk to engineering about a project of some sort to go with PVC or coatings or. Okay.
Yeah, it also could be some of the debris that is being accumulated or dumping some construction site materials right next to the creek. So, like it says, we need the rain, but at the same time, the rain causes some of these pollutions and maybe overwhelming the pump station that is pumping back to the stormwater back to the headworks. So maybe I guess this is a good opportunity in a way that we can reevaluate what needs to be done in order to meet the new requirements as far as a pump station overloading. So that's pretty much it. That's all I have. Any questions, let me know.